everybody, and welcome back to another Matty C Trains video. Today we're going to be checking out some Strasburg Railroad equipment. We have the Kline Strasburg Railroad No. 1 Plymouth switcher and the Nicholas Smith exclusive N6B Strasburg Railroad No. 12 Caboose. These are fantastic models, and I'd love to share them with you today, so let's get started. Alrighty, so taking a look at the locomotive first here. Like I said before, this engine was made by Kline. I want to go over the history of this engine first. This is a pretty self-explanatory engine, actually. For the most part, everybody knows this locomotive. It's a very recognizable engine of the Strasburg Railroad family. However, it's a significant engine because this is the only engine that Strasburg bought brand new and had built specifically for the Strasburg Railroad. This engine was built around 1929, and it was predominantly used for freight services, as well as by the time the Strasburg Railroad was starting to become a passenger tourist line, it did a bulk of the passenger service until they got to the point where the railroad became so popular that the engine could not handle any of the passenger service anymore. At max, this engine can pull at least 2 passenger cars, and that's a stretch. It's a lot of weight for a little engine like this, but it did serve the railroad for many, many years, and it certainly deserves the respect it needs. The model is really well done, and we're going to go over the details. So let's check it out. Alright, so starting at the front of the locomotive, you can see you have this really cool looking grille. You have the separately fitted cupware cup bar. You also have a brake hose here. You have separately fitted step ladders. And I got to point out, for a Kline engine, and for a model of this size, given how small it is, there is loads to look at on this engine. Very, very impressive. The engine's also got great weight to it. It's all die-cast metal, which is another awesome feature. You can see you have the separately fitted front headlight here, as well as the marker lights. Unfortunately, I got this engine secondhand, but that's alright. So there is a missing marker light here, but there is 2 on both sides, and they do light up red and green. There's also marker lights on the side of the cab on both sides, and it's just really neat to see when this engine's all lit up. So let's take a look at the sides of the engine next. So taking a look here at the sides of the locomotive, you can see a lot more awesome detailing. You have the very crisp Strasburg Railroad on the grill of the exhaust vents of the locomotive, as well as inside here. You have an air compressor for the brakes. You have a separately fitted bell coil that goes into the cab itself directly. You have the exhaust stack here. You have just a lot of cool stuff. The trucks are all nicely fitted, separately detailed. Just really nice to check out. The engine, as I said before, again, for a model of this size, it is just very impressive of what Kline was able to do for its time. And this is a tooling you just really don't see anymore. But that being said, let's check out the back. Alright, so here's the rear of the engine, and you can see there's a lot more going on. You have the small doors here. They look like wood doors to me, but they're not. You have the rear reverse light. You have a nice crisp number 1 on all sides here. You have, again, another Cutler cup bar that looks very sharp as well. You have another brake hose on the side of the truck here. You have the nice window here. And as well as more separately fitted ladders. And that's pretty much going to cover everything on this little engine. So that's pretty much going to wrap it up for the overall features and information about the model itself. I got to tell you again that this is just, for its size and its overall build quality, this is a fantastic little engine. It unfortunately only really can pull about 2 cars, maybe a Caboose at the very best. We're talking scale cars, and that's okay because, you know, I want it to pull at least 2 cars if I'm running Strasburg Railroad operations. But I'm sure you could pull a lot more cars if it's a lot more lightweight and stuff like that, given it is an all die-cast metal locomotive. That being said, this is a fantastic little engine. If you can find one, pick it up. This Strasburg engine is quite rare, but regardless, it is something worth checking out. But that being said, let's go on and check out the Caboose. Alright, so here is the Nicholas Smith exclusive Strasburg Railroad No. 12 N6B Caboose. And I'll tell you right off the bat, you can see the detail on this engine, on this Caboose, is absolutely flawless. It's absolutely amazing to look at. Now, they did this in 2 different versions. They have the road-specific. This is what I believe is called the modern paint scheme. So if you go to the Strasburg Railroad, you would see this brown overall paint scheme on the real Caboose. However, there are no yellow handrails and stuff like that on the real Caboose. But regardless, it's a beautiful car to look at nonetheless, and I'd love to share it with you guys. So starting off here on the front of the Caboose, you have all this awesome separately fitted ladders and hands, grab irons and so forth. You have the handrails on the sides of the Caboose here, as well as the inside when you're going onto the steps. You have a brake wheel here as well. On the very top, you can see the separately fitted smokestack connected by a few handrails, which looks really nice. On the top here, you can also see the handrails, which is very nice. You have a nice crisp Strasburg here on the top, as well as a nice number 12. This is a illuminated car, so there is lights on it. There are marker lights on this Caboose. However, they're not functional, but I'll still show you guys the rest of the car nonetheless. So here's a side view of the Caboose, and you can just see a lot more how nicely made this Caboose really is. MTH did a phenomenal job with this car. Nicholas Smith, give them credit as well, because this is a custom run. You can only buy this Caboose from Nicholas Smith if they still have any available at the recording of this video. You can see the awesome wood paneling on the sides of the Caboose. The windows are nice and crisp and separately fitted. There is that smokestack I was telling you guys about again, with the separately fitted handrail, and then the separately fitted handrails on the sides of the cupola, which just looks absolutely amazing. And then you have the separate handrails here as well. Just a very, very sharp looking car in person. They also did this Caboose in the red classic paint scheme, very similar paint scheme to the #1 Plymouth Switcher we were just looking at it earlier, with a different Strasburg sign. The Strasburg would be arched in the center here, which is also a very sharp looking car. Let's take a look at the rear. So taking a look here at the rear of the Caboose, you can see it is slightly different than the front of the Caboose, as I showed you before. You can see you have the separately fitted chains, safety chains here. You have another view of the brake hose from them that looks really nice. Then you also have the marker lights here on both sides. As I said before, these are not functioning, but I'm sure if you drill holes into this model, you probably can fit a small LED in there to illuminate the markers. Just, again, flawless car. Well done by Nicholas Smith and MTH. This is a very awesome car to go with your Strasburg Railroad consist, as well as the Plymouth itself. So before I end the video here, I thought I would show you guys an example of how this Plymouth would look with the actual Strasburg Railroad Caboose and passenger car, as you see here. And this just looks really solid and really sharp. This engine is really awesome. If you're a Strasburg Railroad modeler, this is definitely an engine worth picking up. And any of the Strasburg rolling stock from MTH is phenomenal and definitely worth your time if you are a Strasburg enthusiast like myself. I can't recommend this Plymouth enough. This is a really awesome little engine. They made this engine in several other road names, and they had it in a few other sets as well. But if you can find one, definitely grab one. That's going to do it for this review. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys next time. Take care.